What's up, everyone? I'm back for another video on a day where my hair is sort of out of control, but I was gonna let it sit for a day, honestly, but I'm going to just do it now because I have so much on my mind. So this is going to be a pretty long rant. I think I'm gonna go for like 15 minutes maybe, but maybe not. Let's see what I have to say. I'm gonna talk mainly about the divisional round. There was a lot that happened this weekend. I want to talk about a few things that's just on my mind. So first, let's do the divisional round. It was really jam packed. It honestly, it sucks not seeing your team in there, but as a football fan, there's definitely a few things I got on there. And I was on a radio show yesterday, and I'll post a link down below and other stuff. So you can hear what else I say in case I repeat. But yeah, let's start with the divisional round. It was definitely a hectic divisional round. The NFL is the number one sport in the country right now by far for a major reason, and the divisional round showed it. All games were good games. I understand that Giants-Eagles was a blowout, and I'll get more to this when I speak of Giants-Eagles. That was still intriguing, and that's what makes football so good. Why am I talking about this? Okay, first, let's run through the games. Jaguars Chiefs. First one on Saturday. So starting with the Jaguars, the losing side, Jacksonville has a very bright future. Jacksonville's future is very, very filled. They are one of the top teams in the league with cap space. They have their guy in Trevor Lawrence. I feel very confident saying that. I understand why there are critics because he's a generational prospect, but now he looks like the guy. He looks like a leader. And look at their offense. Their offense is only going to get better. They're getting Calvin Ridley next year, who was a top 5 receiver in the league last time he played. They are on defense. They have stars like Josh Allen. Darius Williams is still there. They have a few more guys that like Trayvon Walker's only going to get better. The Jacksonville has a really bright future. And by the way, their division is every team in there is regressing. Like, what's Tennessee doing? They have question marks at quarterback. Indianapolis, obviously question marks at quarterback, but back to Tennessee, they're aging, and then Houston's still a year away from even being relevant. Jacksonville has a really bright future. They were the Cinderella story of this year for a reason, and they were a good football team, and only losing to Kansas City, who I'll get to in a minute by 7, is really impressive, and they stuck with it. I thought a team like that with that much of a talent discrepancy would lay down, but they didn't do it. And respect to Jacksonville, and respect to Jacksonville fans who stuck with this team. They were one of the best teams in the NFL in the second half of the season for a reason, and they had one of the best playoff wins in recent memory. And then let's go to the other side of it. Kansas City, who I'll talk more about in my preview for the championship round, but based on that game, there's a few things that stand out to me. One, Patrick Mahomes, obviously. Patrick Mahomes playing on one leg and a high ankle sprain. There's two sides to that. One, he's incredible. We knew this. Second, playing on a high ankle sprain is hard, and it's going to be hard against a Bengals D-line, which is vastly improved from the one that Mahomes faced 2 months ago. And let's keep talking about the Chiefs. Travis Kelce, one of the best playoff games by a tight end ever, 14 receptions. He was that guy. And when Kansas City going to get separation with their wide receivers, Kelce was always there. And props to Chad Henne, was even finding Kelce. Kansas City's a really good team. I'm not going to say my Super Bowl pick yet. Kansas City needs to be considered the favorites right now, especially if Mahomes is healthy, but I don't think he's healthy. And I think that they'd rather play Cincinnati for plenty of reasons that I'll talk about in my preview, but the reason is they're 0-3 against Cincinnati in the Mahomes era. They want their revenge really bad. And Buffalo, it would have been another one. They always see them down the road, but Buffalo, Cincinnati and Kansas City, as I'll talk about once I get to the Buffalo-Cincinnati game, these are the two best teams in the AFC, and Kansas City is a good football team, and they should be the favorites right now. Second, let me fix my camera. There we go. Second, Saturday night, Eagles-Giants. First off, I'll say I was wrong about this game, even though I wasn't, because I did go 4 for 4 on my predictions, but I was wrong in the fact that I thought this would be a close game, but I realized a few things. Starting with the Giants, Daniel Jones is a good quarterback. He deserves another shot, and maybe I shouldn't say he's a good quarterback, but he showed that he can be. I just don't think he's an answer for a Super Bowl team. And I think that when the Giants played a legitimate team, a complete football team, the Eagles, with the number one passing defense in the league, you saw Jones really struggle, and he threw for like 130 yards and an interception. You look at the Giants, there's a lot of uncertainties, and I'm going to start with the negatives with them. Saquon Barkley's a free agent. Daniel Jones is a free agent. Those are two of their key players. Leonard Williams might need to take a pay cut in order to play with Dexter Lawrence, who was an all-pro. And that's a little concerning who's going to come back. But at the same time, there's a lot more optimism for the Giants. The Giants are a team that has a winning culture now. They have playoff experience. They won a playoff game in Brian Dable's first year. I'm not going to say there's only up from there, but that's a great, great, great foundation. Jones and Barkley will probably come back. They finally get to cut ties with Kenny Golladay and save some money because Kenny Golladay is god-awful and useless. That's it for the Giants. And then you look at the Eagles. I think this game, one, solved a little doubts about the Eagles because I think the Niners were the favorite in the NFC until this game because the Eagles just showed that they are not going anywhere. Jalen Hurts is healthy. That defense looks better than ever. And I said that last week I said that the Eagles might have peaked early. This game sort of proved me wrong. I think the Eagles are going. I don't know if they're going to beat the Niners. I do need to think about that one honestly. When I do my prediction video, I'll do it. But the Eagles looked really good. Jalen Hurts looked really good. Their offense looked unstoppable. Their defense looked like an immovable object, and it was pretty impressive. And they beat a Giants team, which I think was a little overrated, but it's still a team in the divisional round. And doing that in the divisional round on a week of not playing is very impressive. Great. Now the Sunday game. So I'm going to start with the late one, Cowboys-Niners. There's a few things. First off, the Dallas Cowboys last play, I can't even talk about it. Like, they're going to get a lot of scrutiny for that because it was a terrible design play. The Cowboys might not have been in that position if Dak Prescott knew how to move the ball and Tony Pollard didn't get hurt. There's a few things where just like, damn, Dallas, you really could have had this game because the Niners Brock Purdy looked the worst he has in his career so far in the 7 games that he's all won. And they still lost. I get it, San Francisco has a really good defense, but Dak Prescott, if you want to bring your team to a Super Bowl, you got to learn how to play. And a Super Bowl team needs to win because of their quarterback, not in spite of them. And the Cowboys were sticking around in spite of Dak Prescott yesterday. Now, what does this mean for Dallas? It means a few things. So, first off, there's going to be a lot of question marks about Dak. There's going to be a lot of question marks about Ezekiel Elliott. Do you cut Zeke? Do you try to save money? Do you try restructuring his contract? Because I don't think he will. Do you bring back Tony Pollard, who's going to have a bunch of star-studded offers, especially because he was a Pro Bowler this year, even though he won't play, and now he's recovering, which might tempt the market a little? Will Dallas be relevant? The NFC East is getting much, much better. Look at the Eagles. They were the ones. Look at the Giants, made the playoffs. Look at the Commanders. The Commanders are getting better. They have a problem at quarterback. I'm not saying the Cowboys are the worst team in the NFC East at all. The Cowboys there's definitely question marks, but that seems like it's every season for the Cowboys. So take that with a grain of salt. Second, San Francisco 49ers. They look so complete. I think that Brock Purdy had his worst game as a Niners quarterback yesterday, or probably as an NFL, or just as an NFL quarterback, I could say. He's a rookie, but they won it. I'm not even going to say in spite of him because he played pretty mistake-free football, Purdy, but they're showing that him being the last pick in the draft doesn't matter because of how loaded they are. And when you look at Brock Purdy, he's a 7-0 quarterback now in the NFC Championship. This is a double-edged sword. So, first off, the bad side of it, I don't like using quarterback wins as a stat because look at the Niners, look at how loaded they are. They are one of the most talented teams, one of the most loaded teams in the NFL. That roster is crazy. Look at who Purdy's throwing to. So quarterback wins might not be a good measurement, but at the same time, Purdy's playing mistake-free football, and he's playing good football. Look at his game against Seattle last week. So, and you look at other teams that are loaded but win in spite of their quarterback. The Jets early on in the season is one that comes to my mind. There's a few others that I could come up with. This was impressive, and the Niners look more and more impressive. That NFC Championship is going to be a really, 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 really good game. I still don't know who I think is going to win, but the Niners need to be taken seriously, and I think they've been taken seriously for a while now, so I don't even think I need to say that. Okay, last game, Bills-Bengals. Few things. Let's start with Cincinnati. I've been starting with the losing team for every one of these games, but I'm going to start with the winning team here. Cincinnati showed they're the better team. They showed they're better than Buffalo in every aspect. I wouldn't take, people take Josh Allen over Joe Burrow. I can't do that right now with Josh Allen's uncertainty in his elbow and how he didn't look good yesterday against a Bengals defense that is vastly improving. So sticking with the Bengals, I'll talk about the Bills in a minute. The Bengals, they're an improving team. And look at who they've beaten in the past 2 months. They beat Kansas City once. They get another chance at Kansas City where people will doubt them again. And they beat Buffalo. They beat Baltimore twice, who is a playoff team. I don't care that they didn't have Lamar Jackson. They're a playoff team. When they did have Lamar Jackson in Baltimore, they only lost the Bengals the Bengals only lost by 3 in Baltimore. They have experience. Jamar Chase is one of the best receivers in the league. T. Higgins is the best wideout 2 in the league, and I'll say that confidently. He's a wideout 1 on 25 other teams. And the Bengals just looked so good yesterday. And what stood out to me was their pass rush. Their pass rush was obliterating this Bills offensive line, which isn't one of the best in the league, but it's pretty stable when you look at Deion Dawkins, Mitch Morse. They have their players, and Buffalo was a favorite going into the season. And I'm going to get into Buffalo in a second. Just my last note on the Bengals, Joe Burrow just continues to prove that it's Patrick Mahomes, and then he's right there. He's not at the Mahomes level yet because nobody's at the Mahomes level, but Joe Burrow is creating his own tier for himself, and he is creating playoff wins, and that is impressive. He has 5 playoff wins already in 3 years in the NFL. I'll talk more about the Bengals later. But the Bills. Here's what I have to say about Buffalo. I said this on my show yesterday. A lot of people called Buffalo a team of destiny at the start of the year. They said that this is their year. They have a favorite. They're one of the best teams in the NFL. They're loaded. When was Buffalo the best team in the AFC this year? They were not week 1. The only reason people thought they were week 1 is because they beat a Rams team that turned out to be 5-12, and they killed a Titans team that turned out to be 7-10. Their best win of the early season was beating a 9-8 Steelers team who also didn't make the playoffs. Then Josh Allen gets hurt, and they never look the same. They lost to a Jets team that didn't make the playoffs. They lost to a Vikings team, which is pretty fraudulent, as people were saying. When was Buffalo the best team in the AFC? Take out the quarterback position. Just take out the quarterback position for now. Is Buffalo better than Kansas City at the running back position? Or Cincinnati at the running back position? No. Are they better at the wide receiver position? Maybe Kansas City because of Stephon Diggs. They are not better than Cincinnati at the wide receiver position. Out of those 3 teams, that defense is probably third due to the way they're playing. And Leslie Frazier did not have his defense performing. I had Leslie Frazier as the head coach and candidate, and this made me question it. They were very easy to figure out. And then put in the quarterback position. Quarterback's the most important position in football. You can't make an argument about a team without a quarterback, right? Josh Allen, can you argue he's better than Patrick Mahomes right now, who's beaten him in the playoffs twice? Heck, can you argue that he's better than Joe Burrow right now, who beat him in the playoffs in his own home when the Bills were a 5.5-point favorite? No, this is not me calling Josh Allen a bad quarterback. This is saying Josh Allen right now is the 3rd or 4th best quarterback in the AFC. Joe Burrow passed him. Justin Herbert might have passed him. Josh Allen, he'll have surgery. He'll be better. The Bills are in limbo right now, though. This is what I was going to get to. A lot of people yesterday were saying that the Bills' Super Bowl window closed after that game. I don't believe that. I think it's a case of other teams catching up. And I think that's what you saw with Cincinnati, who was substantially behind Buffalo in 2020 when they made the AFC Championship and Joe Burrow was going through physical therapy. But now you look at Cincinnati, they're better in Buffalo in every area. And I think now with Josh Allen's rookie contract expiring, and they're going to have to pay him, let me do the math, $250 divided by 6, $45 million a year. That's scary because they are going to have to make some cuts, and at the same time, teams are going to catch up to them. Buffalo's window is still way open. It's open until as long as Josh Allen's there, as long as Stephon Diggs is there, as long as Sean McDermott's there, because I think he's one of the best coaches in the league. But there will be teams catching up. Look at the AFC East even, outside of the quarterback position. Okay, let's do this again. Outside of the quarterback position, Miami and the Jets. Where is Buffalo substantially better than the Jets? Wide receiver? No, I'd rather have Hill and Waddle than Diggs in any combination that's even feasible right now. Running back? No, because the Jets have Breece Hall. The Finns have Raheem Mostert, who the Bills have at running back right now. James Cook, who showed his flashes, but really is not a running back 1, and Devin Singletary is going to leave. Go to the defensive side of the ball. Is there anything on the Bills defense that you go, I would rather have that than the Jets defense? Maybe linebackers. But then you look at the Dolphins defense. The Dolphins have a great linebacking core. Are the Bills first in anything on the defensive side of the ball or the offensive side of the ball? No. And then, let's do this again. Then bring in the quarterback. Josh Allen's better than Tua. If the Jets bring in... But if Tua takes the next step, let's say Tua takes the next step. I don't believe it's happened, but hypothetically, if Tua takes the next step And the Jets are going to make a quarterback upgrade this year, whether it's bringing in a Derek Carr, or Jimmy Garoppolo, or even a Lamar Jackson, which isn't going to happen. But let's just say it could, because it's definitely feasible. If the Jets have a substantial upgrade at quarterback and Tua Tagovailoa plays that well, is the gap between the Jets and Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills that much bigger than everybody sees it? I mean, is it that much smaller than... It's very, very small. It's not as big as people saw. The Bills are still the favorite in the AFC East. Don't get me wrong. There are teams catching up. And now Buffalo is substantially behind Kansas City because they play in their 5th straight AFC championship. And substantially behind Cincinnati, who's playing in their 2nd straight AFC championship and has more playoff wins. Joe Burrow has more playoff wins than Josh Allen. Patrick Mahomes obviously does. The AFC is a loaded conference. Justin Herbert's going to be there next year. The Bills are in limbo. They'll be right back where they are last year, but it's going to be a hard road. And I'll talk more about the Bills in my end of NFL recap. But yeah, so that's what I have for the NFL. 15 minutes. What did I say? So I will talk more about the NFL later in the week. Here's a few things that I want to talk about. One, college basketball. It was a very eventful last week and weekend for college basketball. There's a few things that I want to talk about. First off, upsets. Number 1, Houston lost. Number 2, Kansas lost. A bunch of other ranked teams lost. This is what college basketball is. I'm not surprised. I'm surprised that these teams lose, but I'm not surprised why they lose. It's college basketball. There are so many surprises, and there will be more upsets to come. What I have to make of those games. Kansas State is a good team. I don't know how far they'll go, but Kansas, you should not worry. I still think Kansas is one of the favorites. Same goes for Houston. If I had to pick a team right now to win, I'd probably go Purdue, honestly, but it's close. College basketball, there's a lot of uncertainty. A few other things I want to talk about with college basketball. This one might be a little biased, but Terquavion, it's not even a bias because I'm not talking about it in this stance. Terquavion Smith, the leading scorer in the ACC for NC State, if you guys didn't know, had a neck and arm injury on a foul by Leaky Black, and a lot of people said it was intentional, but when you really look at it, and I think most people realize it was not intentional. Leaky Black's not the type of player that would go out of his way to hurt someone, and they called it a flagrant 2. It wasn't a flagrant 2. It was a flagrant 1. Leaky got ejected, but prayers go. That's not the matter that I want to talk about. The prayers go to Terquavion Smith because he is such an electric player, and hopefully he'll be okay. With that being said, UNC is playing better. NC State's also a tournament team, but without Terquavion Smith, they're going to struggle a little. But I'm praying Terquavion Smith's okay, and he'll be back come March. But it was definitely a scary injury. I was watching that live, and it hurt. What other things college basketball-wise? The Big Ten's still a mess. I'm going to post some Big Ten power rankings. I'll definitely post that down below, too. And then what else do I have to talk about? The NHL, I'm just, one thing I'd want to say about the NHL, the Boston Bruins are so much better than everyone else. I don't know if this is going to be the case come playoff time, but they are just a step above everyone else. Just look at them. What are they not ranked at number 1? It's actually absurd. Jim Montgomery, he should be awarded the Jack Adams Award right now. Linus Ullmark, same with the Vezina. They are a really good team. And then the NBA, it was just a great Nets win. The NBA, reaching the All-Star break, but not that much right now. Yeah, that's what I have. But I'll be back with more later in the week. But there were my divisional round reactions and a few other things I wanted to touch upon. So, like and subscribe, tell your friends. It's a lot of fun doing this, and I really enjoy doing it for people that I appreciate. So, peace, guys.